Did you know there are 5 simple exercises you can do right now to instantly reduce your hip arthritis pain? Over the last 20 years as a physiotherapist, I've helped hundreds of people over 50 reduce their hip arthritis pain and regain their mobility without having to take painkillers or go through surgery. And all it took was a simple exercise routine. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact science-backed exercise routine that allowed of my patients avoid hip surgery, triple his walking distance, and return to playing golf all within a matter of weeks. Now, arthritis is not something you need to accept. And I've seen firsthand with hundreds of my patients what happens when people take action early, which can completely change their future. So let me tell you about one of my patients, John. He was 68 years old when he started noticing his hip pain creep in, which was stopping him from playing golf. Despite trying rest, stretching, painkillers and physiotherapy, nothing seemed to work. All he was given were the same old generic exercises like clamshells, leg lifts and basic stretches. His doctor told him it was just wear and tear and that a hip replacement might be his only option. John was devastated, having seen friends undergo surgery and never quite return to their previous form. That's when he came to see me and where I took a different approach. Now, since John was struggling to lift his leg, I knew his hip flexors needed strengthening. These are the key muscles that help you lift your knee when walking and climbing stairs, so keeping them strong is important for everyone. To strengthen them, here's the first exercise. Start by standing tall next to a sturdy surface for support like a chair. I recommend placing your support on the opposite side of the moving leg to keep your posture upright. Gently swing your leg forwards and backwards and don't force it, let momentum do the work. Keep the movement light and controlled. This isn't about kicking as high as you can and avoid leaning or compensating. If your support is correctly placed, your upper body should stay upright and balanced while your leg moves freely. Set a timer for 30 to 60 seconds or count about 20 swings per leg and repeat 2 to 3 times. It should feel smooth and pain-free. If you feel discomfort, make the movement smaller. This simple exercise gently mobilizes the hip joint and helps reduce stiffness, all without overloading your muscles. But on its own, this exercise wouldn't have been enough for John or for you, because while he could now lift his leg, he still struggled with stability and control when pushing his body weight up the stairs. Now that's because stepping up isn't just about lifting the leg. You also need strength in the muscles on the outside of your hip to keep you steady, prevent wobbling, and help you propel yourself forward with ease. So for this next exercise, we're focusing on strengthening those key stabilizing muscles on the outside of your hip. You'll need some space along a wall and a chair for support. Stand close to a wall and your shoulder lightly touching it. Then take a small step away to find a comfortable stance. You'll be working the leg closest to the wall. Slightly bend your knee and bring it to touch the wall. Press your knee into the wall with about 50 to 60% effort and hold it for 3 to 5 seconds. This should feel like an active push, but not as hard as you can. Relax and repeat 8 to 10 reps, adjusting your foot position if needed for comfort. You should feel the outside hip muscle of the leg pressing into the wall activated. You'll also feel the outer hip muscles on the standing leg engaged to support your balance. Once you've completed your reps on one side, switch and repeat on the other leg. Now that climbing stairs was becoming easier for John, he still struggled to walk without pain. Walking requires continuous strength and control with each step. This next exercise targets those key muscles to improve balance and make walking feel smoother and more comfortable. So stand with your feet about hip width apart. Gently move your weight from one leg to the other, allowing your body to move naturally side to side. When you walk, your body is constantly shifting weight from one leg to the other. This movement helps prepare your hips for walking by mimicking that natural motion in a controlled way. To increase the challenge, try lifting one heel and then the other. This will push more body weight to one side before shifting back. Repeat this motion 10 to 20 times at a comfortable pace. You can do this exercise before walking or climbing to loosen up stiff hips. This simple shift helps hip feel more mobile and prepared for movement. If needed, use a chair for support and focus on keeping the movement smooth and controlled. Now, if John had just done these 3 exercises, he would have been walking the green without much issue, but getting in and out of the golf cart would still have been painful. So this next exercise is what allowed him to stand up from sitting with ease and is one of my favourite for building hip strength and stability, especially those dealing with hip pain. It targets the biggest muscle group in your legs, which are your quads, and will also help to further strengthen your glutes. Start by adding a resistance band just above your knees, which will increase activation in the side hip muscles. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart, engage your core, and slowly lower into a squat, keeping the movement controlled. Only go as low as you can without pain. If you feel a pinching pain in the front of your hip or discomfort on the outside hip, don't force through it. Instead, just stop just above the painful point and hold for a few seconds. This helps your hip muscles wake up. If you hit a point where you feel discomfort, pause just above it and hold for 10 to 20 seconds while actively pushing your knees apart against the band. This activates the lateral glutes to help pull your hip bones into a better posture and stabilize the joint. After the hold, stand back up and rest. As your muscles get stronger, you should notice you can gradually squat deeper without pain. Over time, the goal is to build up to a full depth squat pain-free. Aim for 5 to 10 reps, 2 to 3 times, with 90 seconds rest between sets. And repeat 3 to 4 times per week for maximum benefit. This last exercise is what finally helped John line up his swings at the tee and get the ball out of the hole with ease. But for you, this will be crucial for everyday movements like carrying things or bending over to pick something up from the floor. You could do this exercise with or without weights, but I'll start with the bodyweight version first. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart. To help you feel the movement, place your fingers on your hip bones. Relax the knees. Give them a little shake to make sure they're not locked out. Push your hips back while keeping your chest lifted and don't look down. Instead, look about 3 to 5 feet in front of you. Engage your glutes and hamstrings to stand back up tall. Try a few reps and focus on keeping your back in a straight line. Avoid rounding your shoulders or bending at the spine. This is called a hip hinge or a deadlift. If you're struggling to get the movement right, stand in front of a wall. Perform the same movement, but focus on reaching your hip back towards the wall. This provides helpful feedback to ensure you're hinging correctly rather than just bending forwards. Before adding weight, aim to complete 10 to 15 reps smoothly and without pain. Once you're comfortable, it's time to add weights. Start light, then gradually increase the weight as you gain confidence. Hold the weights in front of your thighs. Sit your hips back as the weights glide down your legs. Drive through your heels, squeeze your glutes, and stand up tall. With weights, your reps will depend on the load. If the weight feels light, aim for 10 to 15 reps. If the weight feels heavier, aim for 8 to 10 reps. The key is to listen to your body. Make sure the movement feels good on your joints and doesn't trigger pain. By training the hips functionally, John regained strength and mobility, allowing him to get back to the golf course with confidence. Instead of focusing on small, isolated movements that his GP gave him, we trained his hips the way they move in real life, which are on his feet, under load, and in positions that mimic everyday activities. But while these exercises will help ease your hip arthritis pain and improve your mobility, there's one more thing you need to address: your lower back. If your hips aren't moving properly, your lower back takes an extra strain. And that's why so many people over 50 struggle with both. Go watch this video next to learn the #1 exercise for reducing lower back pain and preventing it from showing up down the line.